One of the biggest frustrations of chasing bucks is having one that only shows his face at night. And a lot of hunters would hunt that buck anyway, thinking that if he's only showing up on camera at night, that at least he's in the area. But that is the wrong move. You will probably end up just spooking him and then ruining your chances for a long time. The right move is to wait for him to show up during daylight hours, and you need to figure out why he will only show his face on your cameras at night. Now, there are a ton of possible reasons why that buck is only running around your property at night, but in this video we're going to go over 3 of the biggest reasons why, so you can correct them and put a tag on that hit list buck. But before we get into this list, do me a favor, and if this is your first time on my channel, hit that subscribe button and make sure you click the bell icon so you can be notified every time I upload a video. And the first reason why the bucks on your property are all nocturnal is because your property severely lacks cover. For a mature buck to move around during daylight hours, he has to feel like he's safe. And if he doesn't, he is going to wait till the cover of dark, or he's going to go somewhere else where he can find that. So if your bucks are only moving around at night, you need to take a very critical look at the cover available where you hunt and decide if that's something you need to invest your time into. And I'm going to guess that for the vast majority of us, that answer is yes. And just so you know, cover is not a thick patch of cedars. I hear a lot of times where people will say, but my deer bed in that big monoculture patch of cedars. And that might be true. They may really be bedding in there, but just because they are bedding there, that doesn't mean that that's good cover. One analogy I've heard to discuss this cedar patch bedding issue is, and I can't remember exactly where I heard it, but just because a homeless man eats out of the garbage, that doesn't mean that's good food. That's just all he's got. And most likely the reason they're bedding in there is, like I said, it's not good cover, but it's thick enough that you're staying out of it. You're not getting in there and hunting there. So that's where they feel safe, because you're putting way too much pressure on the rest of your property, and hint, hint, that's another one of the issues. Good cover is early successional habitat with shrubs and native grasses and forbs growing 4 to 5 feet off the ground. Now, not all cedars are bad, but once that cluster gets to a certain size to where they're self-pruning, and those branches that are providing that cover 3-4 feet off the ground, once they start falling off, that value's gone. Cut those cedars down and burn them. Open up the canopy, let sunlight hit the ground, and turn your property into the premier bed and breakfast. Because when you do this, you're not only going to make deer feel more secure by providing more cover, but you're also going to add a little more food. And giving these deer the security they need to move around during daylight hours is going to give you the opportunity at one of your hit listers. And the second reason that you're only picking up your bucks on camera at night is because they have to travel from way too far away. When I said earlier that bucks that don't feel safe will go somewhere else that they do, this is that problem I'm talking about. When good cover is too far away, it's going to take them a long time to get to those lush green food plots that you spent all year cultivating. And that's usually how this problem arises. You spent all year in your food plots working on them and no time in your woods. Get out of those food plots and start working on the woods. Even do some edge feathering along your food plots. That'll make them more secure to come out into your food plots during daylight hours. I just wouldn't do any edge feathering until after you've improved the cover in the woods, because they would end up bedding right next to your food plots, making them almost impossible to hunt. But you can strategically place areas where you want deer to bed to make it easier for you to hunt. You'll pick an acre or 2 in a strategic spot and completely clear cut it. You'll create bedding thickets or temporary forest openings, whatever you want to call them, but you are directing the deer to bed where you want them. The solution to this problem probably sounds really familiar, and it sounds just like the first problem. That's because it really is. If you are providing secure cover on your property along with those food plots you spend so much time in, you can give deer everything they need in one area. And while you're not going to be able to keep them on your property 100% of the time, you at least increase the chances that they're going to be where you are during daylight hours. This could also potentially help keep your up-and-coming bucks safe and prevent them from getting harvested by your neighbors if they don't have the same management goals that you do. And like I said, you're not going to be able to keep them on your property 100% of the time unless you own just thousands of acres, but it could at least minimize the chances. And the third reason why your bucks are only using your property at night is you hunt it completely the wrong way. Pressure is a gigantic factor in deer movement. And I've heard people say that it seems like deer know when it's deer season, and they definitely do. It's because you're the one telling them. You have to hunt your properties smart. Otherwise, you are sending signals to the deer that you are there and they need to go somewhere else. Pay attention to the wind. Know where deer are likely to be bedding so you can access your stand in a way that doesn't alert deer. Deer respond very quickly to pressure, even if you are careful. Hunt stands when the conditions are in your favor and only when there is a reasonable chance that you'll see the deer that you're after. If you are only seeing your target bucks at night, there's no reason to go there unless it's the rut. During the rut, almost anything can happen, but you still have to be very careful about it. Really think about how you enter and exit your stands. It will greatly improve your chances of seeing deer. So as 3 of the possibly dozens of reasons why the deer are nocturnal on your property. If you have any more reasons that you've discovered that deer are nocturnal, leave those down in the comments below and what you did to try to coax them out during daylight hours and if it worked. Hit that like button if you liked this video, share it if you found it helpful, and make sure that you are subscribed so you can stay informed.